Hey everybody, it's Space435, and I'm finally back with another video. Today I'm going to be making we're going to be making a game engine for Java, so that you'll be able to use it over and over in different games you want to make it in. So it's going to be a 2D one, just a basic 2D one. It's going to be really basic, but we'll probably add on to it in other videos. But by the end of this video, you'll be able to use it in just about any game that you want to. It'll be quick and easy to set up. Um, but yeah, about my absence. I was kind of busy lately. I've had a lot of stuff to do at work and also school. Um, but I got a new computer. I got a Windows 8 computer, as you can probably see. And I actually love Windows 8. It's really, really nice. I can't complain about it. Um, but I just downloaded Eclipse, so we're actually just going to get right into it. This is also going to be like a straight tutorial. I'm not going to pause it and make 10 videos, part 1, part 2. I'm just going to make it in one video because I don't feel like doing that. I don't really see the point in it. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new project. So I'm just going to name it Game Engine for now. It really doesn't matter what you name it, just whatever you want to. Alright, so in the source, I'm just going to first we're going to create a class that's kind of going to start up the game engine itself and make the window and everything like that. So I'm just going to name it Game. And at the end of this video, I'll show you how to implement this, so you're not just coming into here and being like, oh, how does this work? Doesn't make sense to me, and things like that. But don't worry, I'll explain it all. I'm going to explain everything so you understand it. So first, we're going to create a constructor for the game class. So we're going to do public game, and inside of the parameters, we're going to want to get the size of the window screen and also the title of the screen. So we're going to get int window x and then int window y, and then string title. So that's going to be for just kind of like forming the game window itself whenever you want to use this. So now up here we're going to create a new object. We're going to create a JFrame. So we're going to do private final JFrame. We're going to name it window. It's a new JFrame. Actually, you know what? Yeah, well actually, new JFrame. Alright, so now you're just going to want to import that, and you can press, let me see what it is, Control, Shift, and O at the same time, and it automatically imports it for you. So if you see me just magically importing things, that's how I'm doing it. But now we're going to create the window, so we're going to do window dot set size. It's a function that comes with it. We're going to do window x, window y. So that's going to set the size that the user instructed, or I guess you or whoever's going to be coding using this. I'm just going to set some other things. So we're going to set window dot set resizable, oops, and then we're going to make it false, so they can't resize the screen. The user can't resize it, so it has to be the designated dimensions. Then we're going to do window dot set default close operation. We're going to do JFrame dot exit on close, and what that's going to do is it's pretty much going to close the JFrame, and then it's just going to also close the process. So if you didn't have that in there, what would happen is when you close the JFrame or the window, the process is still going to be running in the background, so it's going to really take up process speed and slow down the computer over time. After that, we're going to do window dot set focusable to true, and this is going to allow us to get keyboard input and things like that. And then we're going to do window dot set set location, and then relative to, and then inside of it type null. So what that's doing is that's going to center the frame inside the center of the screen. So if you didn't have this here, it would put it all the way up in the top left corner. Now if you put it right here, or if you put it null, it's going to be right in the center. So that's really helpful as well. And then finally we're going to do window dot set title. Oops. And we're just going to put title, the parameter that they specified, and then we're going to do window dot set visible, visible to true. So that's going to show the screen. Now that's pretty much the game class for now. We're going to be adding on to it a lot. But next, what we're going to do is we're just going to make a basic function to get the JFrame if we ever need it. So we're going to do public JFrame get window, and then it's simply going to return the window, so our other classes can use it. And now after that, we're going to create the game thread. So create a new class. So name it game thread. And what this is going to do is it's going to be the class that is automatically going to be updating things and drawing everything like that. So what it needs to extend and implement is, the first thing is it needs to extend JPanel. So this is so that we can add it to the window and it can run in Paint and update it and everything like that. and then it's going to implement runnable, which is a thread. So it will run as a thread, and everything, or inside of this run, we're going to create like a while loop, and that's where we're going to update and everything like that. So first we're going to create a constructor for it. So go above that. And if I'm going too fast, just try and pause the video. I don't want to. I'm just trying to get this done quick, so that it's not going to take too long. I'm not going to be holding you guys up so much. But type in public game thread. This is just going to be the constructor, and inside of that, we're going to take the parameter of the game. So game, and we're going to make a new object. So private final game, and then game. So this is so that this class can use an instance of the game itself. Then we're going to do this dot game equals game. And for those of you that don't know what final means, some people don't really know, but pretty much what it is once it's set in the constructor, you can't set anywhere else. So game can't be set to a new game, for example. So if I did 1, 1, and then it's not going to let me do it because it's set to the final. So you can never edit it. You can't do anything like that. Also, you can't construct it anywhere else. So you can't construct it outside the game thread. And if you don't construct it at all or set it equal to something, then it's going to give you an error in the constructor. So it has to be set in the constructor, and it can't be set anywhere else. And that's just to prevent it from being changed later by accident. It's just good programming practice and things like that. So it's good to do that. Now we're going to set focusable to true. And now that is just a function that comes with the JPanel. It's the same thing as the game that we use on the window. So set focusable. It just lets the keyboard get it lets the JPanel get input from the keyboard, so we can see if the user's pressing the up key, the down key, etc. Now inside of here, we're going to do while true, and this is going to be our thread. We're going to do try. I'm going to do catch. I'm just going to put exception E inside of it. I'm going to do E that print stack trace, and that's just going to be if there's an error or an exception, I guess I should say, then it's going to throw it out. So it's not going to be, I'll show you why we have that in a second, but chances are it won't give us an error. But actually we're going to come back to that because we still have to set up something else before we do that. Now after that we're going to set up a function that comes with the JPanel. It's one of the functions we can override. So we're going to do public void paint graphics G, and then we're going to do super dot paint G. Now what that's doing is it's just calling the JPanel class, that's super class. When we say super, we mean whatever it's extending. So in this case, we're extending the JPanel class where we're going to be calling the paint. So for example, if I did this dot paint, you can see that we have a paint right here, which is just going to be the function from the JPanel. Also, that this dot set focusable, you can see that as well. Set size is here as well. So there's a bunch of different functions that come with the JPanel. If you type this and then a period, you can see all of them in there. But anyways, from this we're going to create an object called graphics 2D, and then we're going to name it G2D, and then we're going to cast it from the graphics object. So what graphics 2D is, you have to import that, by the way. What graphics 2D is pretty much a graphics object. It just kind of has more functions than the normal graphics would. So it's more powerful, better to use, more updated, and it's just better to use in that sense. So what we're doing is we're just casting graphics 2D from the graphics object, and then we're setting it here. So that's what we use to paint everything. And then what we're going to do here, make sure you copy this correctly. This is kind of to stop it from lagging, I guess you could say, when different things are moving. It's kind of hard to explain how it works. Just for now, it just has to do with keeping the game running smoothly and not all choppy and things like that. So just type in what I'm typing. Is it value anti-alias on? Yeah. Alright. And then we will come back to this class as well, but actually what we're going to do is we're going to put repaint. So then once it gets to the end of the function, it just automatically repaints it. That's also a function that comes with the JPanel, so if you type this.repaint, you can see it in there. Now, give me 1 second. Now we are going to create our screens. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new class again. Just name it screen for now. And then what this class is going to do is pretty much going to let us, it's going to let, when you're using it on different or when you're using it in your game, you're going to be able to implement this, and they're going to be able to use it to draw to the screen and update things and stuff like that. So what you want to do is you want to put abstract up here so that different objects can extend it and then grab different functions that we specify inside of it. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a constructor, so public screen, and we'll actually come back to this as well. And then we are going to do public abstract void on create. So what this is going to do is when we get to another part of this, I can explain a little bit better. But it's when we create a new screen or we show a new screen, it's automatically going to call that on create. So if a screen, like the main menu screen, for example, is extending screen, it's going to take the on create method, and then anything inside of it is going to be called when we show the screen. So that's kind of how all these are going to work. So we're going to do public abstract void on update, and this is going to update it every few seconds or so, milliseconds. And then we're going to do public abstract void on draw, and then we're going to send our graphics 2D G2D object into there, so we can give me a second, import. God, I hate when this happens. So we can draw to the screen. This happens to me all the time. We'll come back to that though, don't even worry about it. And then also we are going to, we'll come back to that. So let's go back to game. We'll leave that like that. Okay, so we're going to create a new class again, and this is going to be the screen factory. So that's what we're going to call it. We're going to create a new class called screen factory. And this is going to handle the screens and handle showing them and updating them and drawing them and things like that. So we're going to do public screen factory. And then inside of the parameter, you're going to want to put the game instance. So we're going to game, and then go to here and create a new game object. So we're going to create a new final. Because we don't need to set this anywhere else. It's going to be set in the constructor, and that's it. So this.game equals game. So this is that the screen factory class can use that object and get access to other things. So then we're going to do public void show screen. Now what this is going to do is pretty much going to show the screen that we specify. So before we do that, we have to go back up to the top, and under private final game, type private screen. And now that's going to be the screen that's currently showing. So what we can do now is we can do screen equals this.screen equals screen, and make sure you have this there, because if you don't, what it's going to do is you're going to be setting this screen equal to itself, whereas if we put this in front of it, it's going to be taking this screen up here and setting it equal to this screen in here. So that's how that works. And then right after that, you're going to want to call screen dot on create. So that's going to be the creating method. So when we show the screen, we're going to call the on create method. And now we're going to come down here. We're going to do public void get current screen, and this is just a public screen get current screen. And this is just a getter method to get the screen itself, so that other things can use it. And then we're going to want to do public JGame. Actually, no, we don't need that. We won't need that in there because this should already have an instance of it. So let's go back to this class here, and now inside of the parameter, go to the screen class. Inside the parameter, type in screen factory. So we're going to give every screen an instance of this. So then you're going to want to do private final screen factory. Now this is going to handle showing screens, updating screens, drawing screens, getting mouse info, getting keyboard info, everything like that. So for example, if you were on the main menu screen and that person pressed a button, what you could do is you could call screen factory dot show screen, and then show the next screen that you want to go to, like the game screen or the control screen or the info screen or something similar to that. But when I do the example, I can explain everything like that to you guys. So then we're going to do this dot screen factory equals screen factory. Now we're going to do, I think we should probably do protected void. Give me 1 second. Actually, we're just going to do public. So we're going to do public void gets public screen factory. Get screen factory. And then we're going to return screen factory. So that's just going to it's going to let the screen, or the screen here, get an instance of the screen factory, and it's going to be able to show it or get the mouse input, like I said, and all that. Now another small function that we're going to add, actually we'll add in that later. I'm not going to worry about that right now. But let's go back to the game thread. The game thread. I don't know why I said J. Now we're going to go back down to the run method here, and what we're going to do is we're going to do if game dot, nope, sorry, before we do that, go back to the game class, and then we're going to need to create an instance of a screen factory. So we're going to do private final screen factory, screen factory, and then we will just set it equal to a new screen factory in here. Oops, what am I doing? New screen factory, and then type this because the screen factory takes an instance of the game class. So because we're calling in here, we just call this to give it this class. Then we're gonna have to do public screen factory get screen factory. Then it's going to return screen factory. And now then we want to go back to the game thread, and we want to do if game dot get screen factory dot get current screen is not equal to null. So if the screen is set to something, because when the screen factory first starts, it's automatically set to null because nothing is set to it. No screen was set to show or anything like that unless it was called in a separate class. But right away there's not going to be anything set to it, so we have to check to see if it's null or not. So if it's not null, we're going to do game.get screen factory dot get current screen dot on update. So that's going to update the screen every few milliseconds or so, and then we're going to do thread dot sleep, and for now we'll just do 10. I'm not adding in any FPS or anything like that. Don't have to worry about that right now, but we can always come back and add that later in a different video. But what that's the reason we have the try catch is because of this. There is an exception that's thrown by it, but it's really never thrown. Chances are you won't have to worry about it. Don't even worry about it at all. You just have to have it there. And then we can go back down to the paint method here, and we're going to do, this is where we're going to draw the screen. So we're going to do if game.get screen factory.get current screen is not equal to null. And we can always set a function to check if it's null or not, but it doesn't really matter. Then we can do game.get screen factory.get current screen on draw, and then we're going to send it that G2D that we set right up here, because it takes the parameter in the screen class. So as you can see, G2D, and we have to send it through there right here. But now we're going to add in the keyboard listener. So let's create a new class. That's the basis of running, drawing, and updating though. Now we're just going to create the extra things that we need. So we're going to do, we're just going to name it keyboard listener for now. Seems simple enough. So keyboard listener, and it is going to have to implements key listener. And I have to import that. I'm just pressing Control Shift and L. And then right here, go up to here, and you have to do add unimplemented methods. And this is going to, or all these methods are going to be called when a key is pressed, or released, or typed, as you can see. And then I'm just going to rename these. I wish they used to have them where they just called event, but they don't anymore. It's kind of frustrating, but whatever. And now getting keys is actually really simple. We're going to do it a really simple way. So up here we're going to do private boolean. We're going to make an array of boolean. So private boolean, and then we're going to name it keys equals new boolean, and we're just going to give it we'll do 256. So I'll explain how this works in a second. Go down to key press, and we're going to do keys dot get key code equals true. So what this is doing is pretty much each key has a specific number registered to it. So I think A starts somewhere in the 60s or something like that, maybe the 80s. but somewhere in there. So when it gets called, we're going to get the number and we're going to set the array equal to true. So for example, if a was equal to 85, for example, it'd be 85 equals true. So then that specific spot in the array would be set to true. So now when we come down to key release, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do keys, event.get key code equals false. So if it's set to true, then it means that it's pressed. If it's set to false, it means it's not pressed. So then we're going to make a function here. We're going to do public boolean is key pressed. And int key, so we're going to take a number. So then we're going to do return keys and then key. So like I said, if keys, say they press the A key, key 85, if A was 85, I know it's not, somewhere around that number, but if it was equal to 85, it would be set to true. And then if the key was pressed, say that the user, the one programming this, sent the key or the number 85 through here, then it's going to go through all the keys, and then if 85 is set to true, then it's going to return it. If it's set to false, it's going to return false. And if it's released, it's going to set it to false there. So that's like a super simple way to do it. Super basic. We're just going to create another function to see if it's released. So we're going to do public boolean is key released int key, and now we're going to do return not equal to keys key. So if is key released is it means that they're not pressing the key right now. So when the key's released, we're setting it to false. So if A was pressed and was released, because it's released, it's going to be set to false. So we're saying if keys is set to false here, then invert it and set it to true. If it's set to true, it's going to return false. So that's how that works. I hope you can understand that. But now we're going to go back to the game, and that's where we're going to add in the thread, and then we're also going to add in the keyboard. So first we're going to add in the thread, so we're going to do, let's go up to here, I'm going to do private final game thread, and then we're going to do game thread equals new game thread, and then this. And then after that, we're just going to do window.add, and then we're going to do game thread. So it's just going to add it because it's a JPanel. Because we extend JPanel, we can add it to the window itself. So it's going to be, first it's going to be painting everything, and it's also going to be updating everything. So the painting is going to be called, and it's going to be painted straight to the screen, and then the update is going to be called, and it's going to update the screen. And then after that, we're going to do, let me go back up to here. We're going to do private final keyboard listener, and then come on down here, keyboard listener equals new keyboard listener, and then we're going to add that to the window as well. So we're going to do window, but we're not going to use the add. We're going to use add key listener, and then we're going to type in keyboard listener. So what the add key listener takes in as a parameter is a instance of the key listener class. So because that we implement it, we can send that through as a parameter, and then every key that's pressed on the window, or when the window's focused on the user playing it, it's going to send whether or not the key's pressed, or whether it's released, or types, or whatever. So that's how that works. But now we're going to add the mouse listener. So let's create a new class, and we will just name this mouse pad listener for now. And this class is going to implement mouse listener. Implements mouse listener. And this is just like the keyboard listener, where when you import it, it's going to ask you to implement some methods. It's actually a lot of methods. Now, keep in mind you cannot delete these. So as you noticed, let me show you in a second. As you notice, we didn't use key typed, but we have to leave it there because if we deleted it, we saved it, it would give us an error, and then we have to re-implement it. So whether you use or not, it has to still be in there. I'm just going to name these all event again. Alright, so now the ones that we really want to focus on for now are going to be the mouse clicked and the mouse pressed, or the mouse released. Mouse clicked, mouse pressed, and mouse released. So first we're going to create a few variables. So private int mouse x, comma mouse y. And we also want to do, actually we'll come back to that. Now here we want to do mouse x equals e dot get x. And I keep on typing e, my god. Event dot get x. And then mouse y equals event dot get y. And now you'll notice when you play your game, they're going to be getting a ton of clicks at one time. So what you want to do, actually I can show you it when we do the example, but you're going to be getting a ton of clicks at one time. So when a person clicks it once, it's going to like send like 5 or 10 like clicks. But there is a way to stop that from happening, so I'll show you that in the example, and you can use it in your game. Now in mouse pressed, we're just going to do the same thing. We can actually just, to make this simple on ourselves, we can just do mouse clicked and then event. So what that's doing is just going to go straight up to here, and it's going to call this event, and it's going to set the mouse X to that and the mouse Y to that. So that's an easy way to do it. And then also we want to set a private boolean clicked. So if the mouse is clicked, we actually don't need that. But if the mouse is clicked, we're going to set it to click. So then we're going to do clicked equals true. And then clicked equals false in the mouse released. So then what we can do is we can go down to the bottom and we can just create a function public boolean is mouse pressed, and it's return true. And then we also set clicked equal to true up here as well. So actually we can take this out down here and we can just leave that there. So this is going to call this function here, and then this is going to unclick it, so it's going to set it to false. And that should be it for the mouse class. I'm forgetting. Actually, yeah, we have to let the user get the x and y coordinates. So we're going to do public int get x, and that's going to return the x variable, mouse x variable, and then public int get y, and that's going to return the mouse y variable. And that should be done. Yep. Okay, so let's go back to the game. And now, just like we did on the keyboard, we're going to be adding the mouse listener to the window as well. So we're going to go back up to here. We're going to do private final mouse pad listener, mouse pad listener. And then we're going to create it here. And then we're going to do window dot add. Oops. Give me a second. It's going to be window dot add mouse listener. So then we're going to type in mouse pad listener, and there we go. Okay, good. And now that's all set up. So we have the window getting key input, we have the mouse getting input, and we also have the thread set up. Now we just need to start the thread to get everything running. So we're going to do new thread. And there's no need to keep this thread instance because you'll never have to use it again unless you want to. I mean, if you ever do have to use it, you can just set it to a variable and set some method to get it. But anyways, you can do new thread, game thread, and then just dot start. So what that's going to do is it's going to start the game thread, and it's going to run this here. It's going to pin everything to the screen, and it's going to get all the input and everything like that. So from there, we are pretty much the setup. There isn't much we have to do other than just add in the basic getter variables, or methods. So we're going to do public. We'll do key listener first. Key listener, keyboard, or get keyboard listener, and then we're going to do return keyboard listener. Alright, and then we're going to do public mouse listener, get mouse listener, and return mouse listener. I'm going to import that. I'm importing those, by the way. Mousepad listener, sorry. And now we should be good from there. We have all of our getter and setter methods. Everything's pretty much set up. Now we can actually try it out. So let's create a new class. We're going to call it my game. Create public static void main string args, and then that's just going to be the automatically. It's going to be the method that starts running automatically. And now from here, we're just going to create a constructor. So my game, and this is just so that we can call it up here. So new my game. That's just going to call the constructor here, and we're not going to have to run in any static variables or anything like that. So then what we can do is we can do private game. So we're going to create a new instance of this game class here, and then we're going to do game equals new game. We'll set it equal to 800 by 600, and the title is going to be my game. So pretty basic. Let's see if we can get that to show up. No errors, please. Yes, okay, cool. So we have our screen here, and we have the my game, and we have about 800 by 600. Can't resize it, so that's all good. Now we can start adding new screens. So let's create a new class again. We'll call it my screen, and it's going to extend screen. And then, as you can see, we have to import these the constructor and then the methods as well. So there we go. We have the onCreate, we have the onUpdate, and we have the onDraw. So what we can do is we can do system.out.println creating. We'll create a basic variable up here. We'll do private int x equals 0, and then right down here we can do if x is greater than or equal to 800 plus 64. I'm just going to make a rectangle that's 64 in width, so if the rectangle is off the screen, we're going to move it right back to the front. So I'm going to do x equals negative 64. So I'll move it back to the front, and then we'll do x plus plus. So just keep on moving it forward. And then right here, we're going to do g2d.draw, or we're going to do fill rect. I'm going to set it to the x. We're going to set it to like 400. 300 will be more centered. And we're going to set it to 64 by 64. And also, we'll set the color to black for now. Alright. So let's see if this will work for us. So go back to my game. I'm going to do game.set .get screen factory .show screen new my screen, and then we're going to have to do game.get screen factory. So what that's doing is first we're calling the show screen method, then we're creating a new instance of the my screen class, and because the my screen class takes a parameter of the screen factory, what we have to do is we just have to get game.get screen factory as a parameter. So now hopefully that will work for us. Yep, and there you go, guys. So this is just a little basic tutorial on how to make a little game engine. It's really easy to use. It should move back. Yep, there we go. So nice little smooth animation going on there. You can add things to it. You can edit the game engine however you want. It's pretty simple to use. As you can see, we made a basic moving rectangle in 1, 2, 3, 4. That doesn't count. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10. So we made a moving, updating, drawing game in 10 lines using this game engine. So it's pretty sweet to use. Definitely should help you guys out. I hope it does. After this tutorial, I'm actually going to, I don't know if I'm going to do it today or tomorrow, I'm going to start making a game tutorial using this game engine. So it's going to be cool. You guys can mess around with it, play around with it, add stuff to it. Actually, let me try to get key input. I forgot to do that. Alright, so we're going to go to onUpdate, and you know what we'll do? We'll set x equal to 0, y equals 0. We'll add some game input for now. And now we're going to we'll do if y, actually we'll do if, you know what we need to do? We need to just like I said, we need to go back to screen factory. I knew I should add this in here. Go back to screen factory and do public game get game. So the reason we need to do this is because the game instance game class has all the access to the mouse listener and the keyboard listener. So we need to get access to that to see the keys pressed. Now let's go back to my screen, and then we're going to do if screen factory dot get game dot get keyboard listener dot is dot where'd it go? Public boolean is key pressed. Did I type something wrong? I think I did. No, that's alright. Get keyboard dot is key press. Where is it? Oh, you know what I did wrong? Go back to game. Instead of putting mouse listener here, put mouse pad listener, and make sure you put keyboard listener. I put what they extended and not their actual classes, so we didn't have the functions that they implemented. So now go back to my game screen. See, we're finding out little glitches we have here, and do get keyboard listener dot is key press, and we'll do key event dot key, and then we'll do we'll do vk, and then vk. Easier, just type it vk underscore. We'll do a's for the left. So if the a key is pressed, then we're going to do x minus equals 2. I'm just going to copy this line. We can actually get rid of this. Copy this line, paste it below it, and then we'll do if D key is pressed. So if the right key is pressed, we're going to do x plus equals 2. And then if W is pressed, then we're going to do y minus equals 2. So that's going to move it up. And then if VKS is pressed, then we're going to do y plus equals 2. And we can take this out. And now instead of putting 300 here, make sure you do x and then y. And now when we run our game, fingers crossed it works. Yep, there we go. So there's a little game. I'm moving around with it right now. You can add boundaries as well. So if you wanted to keep the player on the screen, you could do if y is greater than or equal to 800 plus 64. So if the bottom edge of the rectangle or the player is touching the 800 mark, then what we're going to do is we are going to we have to subtract it. So we're going to subtract it. So if the bottom edge of the rectangle is touching the edge of the screen, then it's going to automatically just set it equal to 800 minus 64. I don't feel like doing the math in my head, so I'm just going to write that. Because of the height is 64. Then we're going to do if y is less than or equal to 0. Then we're going to do y equals 0. And then we're going to do the same for the x. So if the x is greater than or equal to... Wait, that's wrong. This is going to be 600. It's 800 by 600. So we're going to do 600 minus 64, 600 minus 64. And we're going to do 800 minus 64. Because if it's all the way to the right of the screen, if you have, for example, if you have a little cube box thing going on right here, the place that the first pixel starts is going to be right here in this corner. So it's going to be in the top left corner. So if you imagine this is our box, 0, 0 on the box is going to be here. So if x is 100 and y is 100, it's going to be x and y are 100 from here and here. Now because our box is 64, this bottom corner here is going to be the y plus 64. So if we want to get the bottom corner, it's going to be y plus 64. If we want to get the top right corner, it's going to be the x plus 64 because the width is 64. If we want to get both the corners, it's going to be if we want to get the bottom right corner, it's going to be x plus 64 and the y plus 64. So that's how you get the bottom corner. So that's how that would work if you're confused by that. Then it was going to do x equals 800 minus 64. And then if x is less than 0 or equal to 0, then we're going to do x equals 0. Alright, let's try this again. So As you can see, I cannot go through the side of the wall there. Cannot go down. I can go down because the screen's messed up. It's kind of how J-frames work. But you can always move it back as well. So you can probably move it back to like 780. When we get more into the game development itself, though, you can just mess around with that and make it collide with the wall. But when we get more into, oh, why did I make it 7? Oops, that's supposed to be 800. This is supposed to be like 580. 580. But yeah, like I was saying, when we get into the game, I'll tell you more about collisions. I'll explain a little bit better, and we'll actually be creating like moving things that we can run into. So I will probably be creating that tutorial sometime this week as well. But I hope you guys like this tutorial. If you have any questions, post them below. If you make any cool games with this, I'd be really cool for me to see them, so you can always just send me them in an inbox message or whatever you want to do. But anyways, yeah, I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys use this in a different game, and I'll be adding to this over the future and making games with it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Comment, rate, and subscribe. See you guys later.